Hey there traders, welcome back for episode number 132 from the StockBandit.tv. I'm glad you joined me for this episode. Let's take a look at the major averages here as we head into a brand new week of trading. It is the place where we always want to start our week taking a look at the major averages and the general conditions out there, which could largely impact and influence how individual stocks move. So we're going to start off with the NASDAQ, move on to the S&P, Dow, and the VIX, which is a volatility index. So last week, very interesting action out there. We had kind of reversed off of this failed test of the 2450 level for the NASDAQ. And by the way, if you're not watching this in full screen, go ahead and click on that in the player and you can get a much clearer picture of here what I'm showing you. But we had reversed lower, and then last week we just were grinding lower here until Thursday. Pretty much everything just crumbled, and we saw a big gap down on Thursday and just a nice, swift, steady move lower throughout the session, which really didn't quite rival the crash day from two previous Thursdays, but it was a pretty nasty day nonetheless. For the NASDAQ, it was down almost 100 points on Thursday, and then we saw another gap on Friday. Well, that final gap proved to be a bit of an exhaustion gap, at least for the time being. And so we did undercut the May 6th low right here, which for the NASDAQ was at the 2165 level. I'm sorry, 2185. We bottomed out at 2165 on Friday. So we did slightly undercut that, but this reversal and the quick move back up above that level to reclaim it does constitute a successful test of this May 6th low. So for now, we're kind of in this very wide range all the way back up to about the 2450 area, which is where we broke down from a few weeks ago. That allows for lots of movement, not only back to the upside, but both ways here at the moment. So, big reversal on Friday with very heavy volume to go along with that, and at the same time, we're still in an environment where anything is possible. We don't know for sure whether Friday's low will stick or not. If it doesn't, then the next spot we're going to be looking is back here at the February low, which for the NASDAQ is 2100. So we've got some room to rally up here. To fill Thursday morning's gap would take us right up here to the 2298 level for the NASDAQ. So lots of room to run just to fill this gap from Thursday morning and just to erase Thursday's damage. So still a long way to go just to recover one day of downside, much less the movement prior to that. So pretty tough environment out there at the moment, especially for the buyers. For the S&P 500, we saw a successful test here of the May low. Once again, we did undercut it slightly. The May low was at 1065. We did break that on Friday with a move to 1055. But here again, we recovered and finished positive on very heavy volume. So that does look to be a successful test for now. Now, all bets are off if we move back below this 1065 level, and if that does occur, we're very likely headed at least to the February low, which for the S&P is back at the 1044 level. So at the moment, to recover Thursday's damage, take us back up to last Wednesday's closing level, that would be a move back up to 1115. So pretty significant move from here to there. And then we've got this 1173 level where we topped out on that last bounce, and then 1181 on the way up. So lots of room to the upside, lots of levels that could serve as some overhead. And keep in mind here, from the peak up here in April, we have certainly created a lower high here. So the trend in the short term is definitely down, and we need to be aware of that no matter what your directional bias is as a trader. We've kind of become short-term oversold here. We're starting to bounce. So certainly the early portion of this week is going to be very important to be very cautious on the short side, and yet at the same time the trend is down at the moment, so trades on the long side are also to be approached with a lot of caution and respect. For the Dow, we did not quite break or even touch the May low on Friday. We stopped a little bit shy of it, which right there for the Dow is at the 98.69 level. So we kind of pulled back to that and then rallied from slightly above that level. So for now, we've got the February low back here at 98.35. We got 98.65. So this is kind of becoming a very important level for the Dow. Let's see if it's able to put together more than a one-day bounce from that level. Obviously, nice reversal with very heavy volume on Friday for the Dow, but we've got a long way to go just to take us back up here to the top of what's starting to become about an 1,100 point range. So lots of opportunity here to rally, but it's been a market that's really struggled to bounce at all. So that's certainly to be considered. Finally, taking a look at the VIX, which is the volatility index. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these volume bars here just so we can focus on price, because that's all that is tracked for this volatility index. But generally, any move above 40 is considered very high historically in the VIX. And once you get a move that's very high in the VIX, what that means is fear is elevated. And when fear is high, people have generally already sold. So when that takes place, the VIX tends to top out when the market bottoms out, and prices begin to rally after fear has reached this extreme. So whether Friday was that kind of a day or not, we certainly don't know. It does have potential to be that kind of day, though, so let's pay very close attention here. We've got this bearish engulfing bar for the VIX, which is to say that fear really dropped big on Friday, and it still has yet to even come back down to where it finished the day on Wednesday of last week, and it's still very high. It's still above 40, so it's still a very high volatility index, but that still signals the presence of fear in the market, but it looks like fear is kind of on the decline here, so let's watch that very closely in the days ahead as well. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I will be back soon with more videos, but in the meantime, trade like a bandit.